Well, since we made the announcement for the exhibition of Linda McCartney photographs, the response has been incredible. Can you tell me a little bit what it means to you as an exhibition, especially as the timing of it is 10 years after Linda's death?
Yeah, the thing is, you know, I knew Linda obviously very early days of her photography, so I saw a lot of her work unfold. So I have a personal interest in it, obviously, as my family does. It's my wife, it's their mum, you know, her pictures. A lot of people might know that she took portraits of rock stars in the 60s, which she'd done some fantastic work with people like Jim Morrison, the Beatles, and The Who, and a lot of really good stuff. She'd be holding a conversation like this with me or Pete Townsend or someone, and she just said, I really love that last record, well, that track. Yeah. And she'd talk about her favourite track, and he'd get engrossed, and she'd just pull the camera up and go, and take it down again and carry on the conversation. So it wasn't like, oh, stop, do this, do that. It was just a conversation. You could see that. And then as it developed, she then took that same sensibility into where she was, which at this point now was changing a baby. You know, or driving to Scotland, or being on the farm with sheep, or being in a country landscape. And she would see the beauty in that, which again is a great skill. I think what people don't know is that it moved into sort of family portraiture, reportage, landscapes, portraits of artists, and things like that. So it's great for us, it's great for me, you know, just to remind people how great she was.
She obviously had a very strong eye for composition, for the structuring of the work, very strong visual identity.
Yeah, I agree. She didn't often crop her pictures. She composed them in the camera. That's the picture she took, she composed it. So I think that shows, you know, her eye for composition. I was talking once to Robert Fraser, who was the famous gallery owner, who was a good friend of mine in the 60s, and we were talking about what we thought made her good, or in fact what made a good photographer. We were saying, you've got to be in the right place, otherwise forget it. Got to be there at the right time, but you've also got to click at the right time.
Yes.
She would often take, in fact, one shot of a situation, you know, whereas people shoot the whole roll.
Yes.
She'd go, no, I've got it. She often wouldn't use a light meter, so she'd just guess it. That took some doing. You've got to have a lot of confidence, and you've not got to be too precious about your work. So the combination of those is what made her so special.
In terms of the family photographs, was there any issue about whether images like that were private, or whether these should be for publication?
Well, no, they were all private.
Yes.
Until an exhibition came up, and then she considered them in that light. But often, I think she chose them just because they were good pictures. And then she would check it with me, sort of say, you know, what about this? You know, it's a fantastic picture.
Yeah.
So the privacy didn't matter so much. We all kind of knew we were being photographed, you know, for possible future use, but it wasn't the important thing.
In the exhibition, we've got a great range. I just wondered whether you could tell me a little bit about one or two of the pictures. I mean, this is a terrific image of you and John Lennon.
This was at Abbey Road Studios, and it's probably round about the time of doing an album which became known as the White Album. And what I like about it, actually, is you can see that nobody's bothered about the photographer, for one thing. She's melted into the background. Also, you can see how much John and I enjoyed working together. It's just a moment in time captured by someone that we obviously weren't intimidated by. We're being completely natural, and we'd be working on some lyrics, and, you know, little moments come up, and anybody else might have missed that moment and waited till we were looking serious or something, but she was looking for that kind of thing. And this is one taken in the summer in our place in Sussex, and she was fascinated by the silhouettes and the shadows,
it would have been very hard to see what she was actually taking with
Yeah,
that one.
no, I think this might be a bit of guesswork, really. But she hit it, you know, and that's really what it was about. Just about capturing this moment. If it didn't turn out, then it was just a snapshot. But if it did, then it would be something more than a snapshot. These are 3 pictures of Jim Morrison singing. I think it was in New York. The 3 pictures are so good, it's kind of hard to choose which one. So she didn't. She made a triptych and exhibited it like that. Again, there wouldn't have been an awful lot of light. It wasn't staged. This was just him on stage. She would just be in the audience. And I think then now that with the really beautiful quality of these prints, that comes up as a stunning
It's fabulous.
triptych.
Another image that hasn't been exhibited before or published before is this one of the riding school in Vienna.
She was a great lover of horses. So when we went to Vienna, this was somewhere we had to visit. And the angle, she did that occasionally, because if she'd have taken it this way, she wouldn't have got it all in.
Yes.
So sometimes she would just tilt to get all the information she wanted in. Another example of how she wouldn't crop.
Yeah. Shall we perhaps look at one more picture?
One more. This is a great one. She wanted to photograph Francis Bacon's studio. This one's particularly amazing, I think, as a photo. Because of the cracks in the glass, you're made to know that it's a mirror. And yet these cracks seem to sort of hang there like a sort of sculptural object. And then I think, you know, with her at the back, triggering the camera, it's a particularly special picture. And she'd know she'd got it. But that's confidence, you know. Anyone else would go, "Oh, did I focus on those cracks well enough? They're going to be sharp enough."
Oh.
She knew she had it.